Okay guys, so in this video we are going to be covering what cost accounting, right? Cost. Let me increase this. We're going to be covering cost accounting, right? Okay, let me make it. So for cost accounting, guys, there is a process here, right? Meaning at the end of the day you must see yourself knowing how to do what, how to do in the production cost statement. At the end of the day, you should see yourself knowing how to do what? The production cost statement. But in order for you to complete the production cost statement, what do you need to know? You need to know how to calculate your direct material, direct labor, and your factory overheads. Right, guys. Now, let me dive into the following T accounts, right? Meaning, let me start with the first one, which is the direct material, right? So the direct material, there is a direct material note which goes like this. We have the direct material, right? Sorry, direct material, right? So the direct material, we have to have what? The balance at boy, meaning balance at the beginning of the year, right? And you have to have what? Your net purchases. Now guys, how do you find your net purchases and how does purchases form, right? Now under purchases we have credit plus cash purchases combined, right? They make purchases in general, right? But how do we get net purchases? Net purchases is what? It's purchases which consist of credit and cash purchases minus what? Minus returns. Maybe let's say you sold something and your data or your customer returned the service that you provided to them, right? So our net purchases are made of what? Purchases minus returns. Right? Now this is how you get your net purchases, right? And then also we have what? Carriage, right? Our carriage on purchases, carriage on purchases, and also custom duties, they'll be given to you, right? And what do? You less what? Balance at the end. So basically this is how it goes. Calculating direct material, you must have what? Balance at the beginning of the year plus net purchases. You must know how to do your net purchases, meaning it's purchases which is credit, cash, then you subtract what? Returns, right? And your carriage on purchases is the delivery that you are charged to deliver the goods and services to the premises, right? And then these are your carriage on purchases. And then custom duties, you know that those are the things that you are charged maybe for buying something in another country and whatsoever, right? You also add them. Then you are going to subtract the balance at the end of what? Of raw material, right? I have an activity for that I'll be doing. This is just an explanation for someone who does not really know what's going on here, right? And then after subtracting the balance at the end, you are going to get your what? Your direct material cost. It will be the total of everything here. This will be your direct material cost, or like saying your direct material issued and whatsoever, raw material issued. This will be your final answer, right? This is for grade 12. This is the T account that you need to do. For grade 11, this is what you're gonna do. You are simply gonna draw a T account, right? This is how I used to do it in high school. You're gonna say debit, credit, right? Then you're gonna say balance at the beginning. At at the beginning of the year, or you can say balance brought down. Sorry guys, balance brought down, meaning this is the balance at the beginning. The balance that you're having here, you will have it here, right? And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna list my credit purchases, my cash purchases. You're gonna show them like this. This will be your cash purchases, and then this will be your carriage. You're gonna show them, and you're gonna have your custom duties. You're gonna show them. Then you're gonna totalize this side. These are the only things that come on the debit side. Please make sure these are the only things that come on the debit side. Then you're gonna totalize here. And what comes this side? If you pay attention here, I did not subtract what the returns. The returns reduces what? This increases this side and this side decreases, right? So I'm gonna have returns on this side, on the credit side. Returns. Right? And then I'm gonna have my balance carried down, which is the balance at the end. I'm gonna simply put it here, right? And then I'm gonna write it here again as what? Balance brought down, right? Meaning what's gonna happen, guys? You will always totalize the debit side first. After totalizing the debit side, you're gonna, this amount that you got here, you're gonna simply transfer to this side like this, right? Now the thing that we are solving here for grade 11s, it's here, which is the raw material issue. You can say raw material issued. This is what we're always calculating here. So simply you're gonna say this total, you take it to the other side, you're gonna say this total minus this amount minus this amount, then you're gonna get your what? Your raw material issued. This will be the final product. For grade 11s, it's more easy. It's more easy. So this is the difference, right? I'll also do activities. So in the activities, make sure you watch them because I'll be doing it both ways. So make sure you're watching, right? Now let's move to the other part, which is what? The direct labor cost. Now let me erase here. Please guys, make sure you watch this video. Make sure you watch the part that is coming because there are more important things that I'm gonna explain now. Let me erase here quickly. Then we're having our direct labor cost, which is the second one, right? So direct labor costs, right? So our direct labor cost, what do? They can give for grade 12, you're gonna draw simply a T account, but they'll always give you an answer book, right? So this will be your T account, something like this, right? Then they'll say that they paid wages to workers that work at the factory. So already that those are the what? Factory wages. They'll tell you that they paid a certain amount of money, or they can say they paid 80,000 in respect of wages, but 20% relates to the factory and 10% relates to admin, and then 70% relates to selling and distribution. Now you know that 80% of 80,000, I mean 20% of 80,000 will fall to what? Will fall to the factory, right? Now let's move. So another thing that you need to take into account, we have what is known as pension fund. Pension fund contribution. But in respect of what? In respect of the factory. It must be of a factory, guys. Please make sure, right? And we also have medical aid. We have medical aid. And it has to relate to the what? To the factory. Make sure, right? And then we have what? UIF contributions. right? Now the sum of these four things here will give you your total what? Your total direct labor costs. This plus this plus this will give you a total direct labor cost, right? Now there are some calculations that you maybe as a student you might not see, as a what can I say, as a learner you might not see, right? I'll just cover them. Now let me not forget my grade 11s. So for grade 11s, this is how your T account will look like. This will be debit and credit, right? And then this will be your direct labor account, right? So you see, basically you see everything that is on there right here will only be on the debit side, right? And then something like this, right? So you're gonna have your bank, right? And then what do I mean bank? Remember the company did what? They paid wages. What did they use to pay? They used their bank account, right? So we have also the pension, we have medical aid, and then we have the UIF. You're gonna totalize this part, you're gonna totalize to this side. Then the total of this is gonna give you what? Your work in progress. Your work in progress. This will give you a total of what? Your work in progress. Remember guys, for grade 11, don't forget that you guys have to do your work in progress, whereby you have under work in progress, you'll have the balance at the beginning of the work in progress, and then you're gonna have direct labor cost, direct material cost, and factory overheads cost. That's for what? That's for grade 11s, that one, right? Now we move, right? Now there are certain things that you need to know under labor, under direct labor cost, right? The following calculations, right? So in this case, right? So when you're required to calculate the direct labor cost, right? So make sure that you take the what? The normal wage, right? Plus overtime, right? Plus employee, not employee, employers contributions. Don't forget guys, that will give you a direct labor cost. Normal wage plus overtime plus your employer's contributions. Always look for such things, right? Normal wage, overtime, and employer's contributions, right? Now, what how do you find your normal wage, right? So your normal wage is gonna be something like this. So your normal wage is equals to be, is equals to number of employees, right? Then you multiply it by what? Number of hours worked multiply by the rate. They'll give you a rate, meaning a normal or a basic rate. They'll give you, you're gonna multiply this rate to give you what? The normal wage, right? Also calculation of overtime. How do you get your overtime? You're gonna say the number of employees who did the overtime, right? Multiply by what? Hours worked, which is the same as this one. Then you multiply by the what? Over time rate, right? So these are the things that you also need to take into account. Some might not know what is a normal rate, how do you find it, and whatsoever, right? So this is how you find it. Number of employees multiplied by number of hours worked multiplied by the rate, right? So if you come across something like that, please do not forget guys, right? Now we move to the other one, right? Which is what? The factory overhead, number 3. So we have our factory overheads node, right? So our factory overheads is like this name. So I'm gonna write the calculations that needs to be in there. This is for grade 12s, right? So We're gonna start by what? Indirect material. Right? We're gonna start by indirect material. So you're gonna say opening of indirect material plus purchases of indirect material minus closing balance of indirect material will give you what? Your indirect material that goes under the what? The factory overhead. Do not forget, you always starting with your what? Your indirect material, right? So we also have what? Indirect labor. You have indirect labor, right? So indirect labor consists of what? Salaries of a supervisor, right? Of a salary of a supervisor, a cleaner, whatsoever, such things, right? Please, guys. And then we have depreciation, and most, I'm not sure, guys, but there are some people that are really complaining about depreciation. I don't know if is depreciation really a problem. If it's really a problem, guys, please don't forget, just comment there. I'll and tell me which part you want me to do for depreciation, because personally for me I feel like depreciation is one of the most easiest one. Even here in uni, if you want to get marks, you focus on depreciation, right? So yeah, guys, but here is easy because they'll tell you the depreciation for the year was this, the one that relates to the factory is this one, the one that relates to the selling administration and whatsoever, right? So make sure that depreciation R is for what? Vehicles or equipment that relates to the factory, right? Make sure everything that relates to the factory, put it here, right? And then we have what? Rent expense. We also have rent expenses, which relates to what? The factory portion. They'll tell you we paid a rent expense for maybe 14 months, right? And you have to account for 12 months. After accounting for 12 months, then you're gonna apportion it to the what? To the victim. Such things, that's how they can maybe try to trick you. Such things. Remember, guys, when we are doing or when we are preparing our financial statement, they might be what? They must be faithfully represented, and they must be understandable, such things, guys, because they will be presented to our stakeholders and whatsoever. But you learn that in maybe more in uni, right? When you're doing accounting especially, right? And then rent expense, the portion of the factory, and then we have water and electricity. Make sure that they relate to the what? To the factory, and they are within the financial period, right? And then the total here will give us a total of what? A factory overheads. So guys, please make sure it is within the financial period. Please, guys, please make sure, right? So for grade 11s, this is for grade 12, and then for grade 11s, you guys are gonna simply do what? A T account, which is debit credit, right? Meaning factory overheads, right? So you're gonna see what will be on the debit side. Everything that is in here will be on the debit side. Then you're gonna totalize it, right? Everything that is in here that I explained here will be on the debit side, right? The total of it, you're gonna just write it here and transfer it to the other side. Then you're gonna write it as what? Work in progress. Because everything, meaning direct material, remember, when you're doing the direct material note, the raw material issue there, you should write work in progress, because it's gonna go to the work in progress node. Remember that direct material is gonna go to the work in progress. The factory overhead is gonna go to the work in progress, which is this is what I'm talking about. And your, what is this? Your direct labor cost will also go to the what? Will also go to the work in progress, right? Let me simply guys show you a structure for grade 11s, right? Let me erase this part. Let me show you guys what you need to know in terms of grade level. This is how these T accounts are going. The first one is what? As direct material. Then you're gonna have a T account here. Also for grade 12, guys, please watch this thing because it's important. I used to use grade 11 work in order to understand grade 12 work, right? So it's gonna increase here, decrease here. So I'm gonna have my direct labor. I'm gonna have my debit, my credit here. I'm gonna have my factory overhead. It's gonna come here. I'm gonna have debit and credit, right? So, and I'm gonna have my what? Work in progress note. I'm gonna have my work in progress. Simply say debit, credit. Remember, guys, for direct material, I'm gonna have balance at the balance brought down here. I'm gonna have what? I'm gonna have purchases. I'm gonna have carriage. I'm gonna have custom duties and whatsoever, right? I'm gonna totalize them here on this side. After totalizing them, I'm gonna transfer the balance to this side. Remember here I'll be having returns, and I'm gonna have balance carried down, which is at the end. This is at the beginning, this is at the end. So I'm gonna totalize this side and bring it to the other side, right? Remember here I'll be having an amount, and then also here I'll be having an amount. What do I need here? This is my what? Work in progress, but we know that it's what? It's raw material issue, but you should write work in progress because this amount is the one that we're gonna take it to the work in progress, right? So we're gonna say this amount minus this, the answer that you're getting is gonna be your work in progress. Number one, highlighted, right? We're gonna go to our direct labor. Our direct labor, we're gonna have what? Bank, the amount that you paid your employees that relates to the factory, right? And then here your not that relates to the effect, your direct labor. I mean, the direct labor, it means the employees that are involved in the day-to-day operations, not necessarily the day-to-day operations, that are involved with whatever that you are producing. For example, what is the direct labor? Maybe our business is to do what? Is to, what can I say, is to produce, what can I say? Is to produce something. I don't know what to produce, but to produce something, right? The people that are involved in producing that thing, those people are direct labor. Indirect labor are the people that are just there for other purposes, meaning security. Someone that is working as a security there, is he involved in the production? No. The person that is cleaning there, are they involved with the production? No, they're not producing anything. That's why they are indirect labors, right? Then after this, I'm gonna have what? Pension, I'm gonna have UIF, I'm gonna have employer contributions, such things, right? Then I'm gonna totalize them, I'm gonna add them, all of them, then I'm gonna take them to the side, the total, right? Then this is gonna be my what? Work in progress. I'm gonna take it to here. That's what I've been saying, right? I've also factory overheads. Factory overheads, the totals that I had there, indirect material, indirect labor, expenses that relates to the factory. I'm gonna totalize them here and also totalize them this side. How? The balance that I got this side, I'm gonna simply transfer to this side, right? The same amount that is here, I'm gonna write it as what? Work in progress, right? So this will be your work in progress now. So what are you gonna do with your work in progress? Grade 12s, this is the most important one because you guys are not really covering this thing. You're gonna need it in terms of finished goods, calculation of finished goods, or not finished goods. When you're calculating cost of sales, you're gonna need this work in progress. You need to know how it works, right? Now they'll give you an opening balance of work in progress, meaning I'm gonna have balance brought down of work in progress. I'm gonna put it here. Sorry, they're gonna give you a closing balance, which is balance carried down. All fine. I'm gonna close it off here. Then what happens here? Here I'm gonna have direct material, this amount. I'm gonna have direct labor. Direct labor, which amount? This one. I'm gonna have factory overheads, which amount? This amount. I'm gonna have it all of them here. then I'm gonna totalize. After totalizing, the amount that is here, I'm gonna transfer it to the other side, right, which will be a total here. So this amount minus this is gonna give me what? It's gonna give me finished goods. Don't forget, guys, please. I remember this used to trick people. Please, you wanna take it to the finished goods account. Let me show you how. This will be your finished goods account, man. This will be your finished goods account. I'm gonna have finished debit credit, right? Now they'll give you a balance brought down of what? Finished good. They'll give you the opening and the closing balance. So when I say balance brought down, they'll give you the opening balance. But then here, what are you gonna put? You're gonna put this amount here to here as what? Work in progress. Then you're gonna totalize it here. Then they'll give you the closing balance of the finished goods. So you're gonna say balance credit down. They'll give you an amount there, and then you're gonna totalize this side. It will be the bigger one eventually. Then you're gonna totalize this side. This minus this thing, it will give you what? Cost of sales. It will give you cost of sales. Grade levels, this is what you guys are basically doing from here up until here. You're gonna just end here, you guys, right? So this is the summary, right? Now we're gonna move to the important stuff now, right? Now let me erase here. uh, let me erase, right? So how are you guys gonna calculate it in terms of uh grade 12s, right? So for grade 12s, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna calculate your finished goods account? So you're gonna say the opening, right, balance, ne, plus cost of finished goods. What is this amount? This amount is the one there, which is that comes from work in progress. How are you gonna calculate it? You're gonna say in opening balance, balance of work in progress, plus direct material, plus direct labor, plus factory overheads, minus closing balance of work in progress. This will be the amount that you got, right? Now this plus this will give you the what? Cost of goods available for sale. Cost of goods available for sale. Then you're gonna have your closing balance. Cost of goods available for sale is this plus this will give you closing balance will be equal to what? They'll give you the closing balance, right? So your closing balance will be here. Then you're gonna subtract it, right? This cost of goods available for sale minus closing balance will give you what? Cost of sales. Sorry, cost of sales. Guys, in other words, the other meaning of cost of sales, it means cost of goods sold, right? The cost of goods sold, right? Now let me draw the structure of the what? Of the production cost statement. Then after this, we will conclude. We'll go to the activity. We'll be doing the activity together, guys. Please hold on, guys. If you're tired, pause the video, take a break or whatsoever, guys, because when studying, guys, you need to take breaks, right? I've realized that this year. Hey, I've realized that. So we have direct material, that is the production, PVC statement. We have direct material costs, right? We have direct labor cost, and then we have prime cost. right? Prime cost. What is the prime cost? Prime cost is the sum of these two. Let's say our direct material cost is 2 rands, our direct labor cost is 3 rands. What is our prime cost? Our prime cost will be 5 rands, this plus this, right? And then we have factory overheads, maybe 3. This will be our factory overheads, right? This plus this will give us what? The total manufacturing of goods. This plus this, which will be what? 8. This plus this will be 8, right? Then they'll give you what? The opening balance of work in progress. They'll give you the closing balance of work in progress. They'll give you those balances, right? And they'll give you what? Cost of, then this will be what? Cost of production. Maybe let's say opening balance is 3 rands, and then the closing balance is subtracted, maybe it's 4 rands. So 8 plus 3 will give me 11 minus 4 will give me 7, which is the total cost of production, right? Sometimes guys, when you're given a T account, please don't forget guys, they can give you all of these three and not give you this and say look for this thing. So meaning you'll have to go backwards, right? Sometimes, please guys, in most cases guys, or especially for manufacturing, try to also think outside the box. They can give you all this information and not give you direct material. You'll have to look for it. How? Using this table. If you know how to drive forward, you have to know how to drive backwards, right? Such things, right guys? So please do not forget, right? Now we are simply going to move to an activity, right? Remember guys, I can't be explaining things that you guys are not seeing, right? So let's dive into this activity and see if you guys understand, right? Now if you pay attention, the things that I was talking about, they are here. We have the raw material, meaning also guys, here at the top you must make sure that you write, right? Maybe let's say for example, this is this is, let me start again, let me start like this, guys. The closing balance of the previous financial period, the closing balance of the previous financial period will be the opening balance of the current year, right? E.g. guys, this will be our current year. This is year end, right? This is end here. This is the end of the year. This will be beginning. Why am I saying this? Maybe let's say on this activity they were currently on 2021, right? The year ended when? On 2020, on 30 April 2021, and last year it ended when? 30 April 2022, meaning the closing balance of 2022 will be the opening balance of 2021. I hope you get what I'm saying. This is the balance, the beginning, balance at the end. Please also make sure you know how to identify that, right? You're given raw material, opening and beginning. Opening balance and the closing balance, right? Those are happy to do the direct material table. Work in progress account that I was talking about. This is the opening balance, this is the closing balance. Finished goods, opening balance, closing balance. Indirect material that goes to the factory overheads, this is the opening balance and this is the closing balance. If you don't remember, please go back to the video and see what I was talking about right there. And then here you have raw material, cash and credit. Remember I told you guys purchases consist of cash and credit. Indirect materials that are purchased during the year, here they are. Carriage on purchases, raw materials returned, and then we have factory workers, they were paid this amount. Salary to a factory supervisor, this is an indirect labor. And then here we have UIF for factory workers and for supervisors. So this one will go to direct material, this one, direct labor, this one will go to indirect labor, right? And then we have a rent expense for factory building, depreciation for the factory equipment, insurance for factory. These are the expenses that relate to the what, to the organization, right? Now let's see what we are required to do. So in this case, we were required to do the production cost statement, right? In order for you to do the production cost statement, you need to do the following notes, right? Meaning, let's come here. We're gonna start by what? The direct. Let me do for grade 12 and grade 11. So I'm gonna say production cost statement. Then I'm gonna draw something like this. Right? So I'm gonna say direct material, direct, let me leave space for calculations, or just do a direct labor, and then I'm having prime costs, then I'm having factory overheads, and then I'm having uh, opening balance of work in progress, then you have the closing balance of work in progress. Then I have what? I have the total will give me my what? Total cost of production, right? Now this will be my total here, and then this will be my total here, which is the prime costs, right? Then I'm gonna do a T account for grade 11s, which is raw material. Raw material account, which is debit and credit, right? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna start with the what? The balance at the beginning. So I'm gonna say balance brought down. We're gonna look for balance brought down and balance carried down. Balance at the beginning, there's the balance at the end, right? Now let's come here. Balance at the beginning is 20,400, 22,500. So balance at the beginning, I'm having 20,400, I'm having 22,500, right? This is the opening balance, right? Sorry. Then I'm gonna look for my purchases. So I'm gonna have purchases. I'll just simply add these two. I'm just gonna write them as purchases in general. So I'm gonna say purchases, the sum of those two will be 124,000 plus 192,600. Please show your calculations there, down there. Please show your calculations in the paper so that if you made a mistake they can give you a principal mark, right? So here's 31,006, this, right? And then we have what? Carriage. I'm gonna have my carriages here, which is carriage on purchases 24,500, or 24,000 as it is. 24,000. I'm gonna have my 24,000. Do I have custom duties? Let's check. I don't have any custom duties, but I have what? I have returns of 4,500. Returns to the supply, return goods, which is 4,500. Right? Now this column is full, right? We don't have anything else. So I'm gonna simply totalize. So according to a normal person, which side is the bigger one? The debit one is the bigger one. So 20,400 plus 31,000, I mean 316,600 plus 24,000. I'm having 361. I'm gonna take this balance to the other side. 361. I'm gonna subtract these two amounts. So I'm gonna say 361 minus 22,500 minus 4,500. 22,500 minus 4,500. I'm having raw, I can say what? Work in progress. Right? So I'm gonna say my final answer will be 33,000. I mean 334,000. What's going on with me? Right? Now this is how you calculate it according to what grade levels. But for grade 12, simply like this, right? You're gonna say opening balance, which is 20,400. You're gonna add purchases, which is the 316,600, plus carriage on purchases, which is 24,000. Then you subtract the balance at the end, which is 22,500. Then you subtract returns, which is 4,500. If there are custom duties, you are also gonna add them. Then my total will be what? 33423. Then you're gonna put it here as your direct material. 33423. Right? Then we're gonna move to what? Our direct labor. As I've seen there in the video, in the activity, our direct labor is simple. I saw there. So right, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my direct labor account. So I'm gonna say direct labor. Right, let's see the information. So we have the direct labor, right? So with the direct labor, we have factory workers, which is 188. So I'm gonna write it as bank. So I'm gonna say bank 188,000, and then I have what? 188. Then I have a salary to a supervisor. This is an indirect labor. And then UIF for factory workers. Remember, UIF is included, right? So I'm gonna say UIF is gonna be 1880. The other ones I don't have them. There's no what is this? Medical aid, employers contribution, such things, they're not there. So I'm gonna simply totalize this one, this side, this plus this, 188 plus 1880. I'm having 18818. No, cancel. So I'm having 189,880. This side I'm gonna also have 189, sorry, 880. This balance I'm gonna take to the side. This balance will also be at the top, which is my what? Work in progress, which is 189,880. It's gonna be taken to the work in progress. Direct labor, this amount is gonna go to direct labor. How we do it? How do we do it in grade 12? We're gonna simply say 188 plus 1,880. My total will be 189,880. I'm gonna write it here. 189,880. Right, what would be my prime cost? This plus this. So 334 plus 189,880. So I'm gonna have 52,380. Right, then I move to what? My factory overheads. Remember guys, with the factory overheads we're talking about, we're gonna start with what? This is for grade 11 work. So I'm gonna have debit, credit, right? Factory overheads, right? I'm gonna start with what? Indirect material, indirect labor, right? So my indirect material will be what? Indirect material at the beginning of the year will be 1,600. So I'm gonna say 1,600, 1,600 plus purchases of indirect material. Let's check if we have purchases of indirect material, which is 5,300. Which is 5,300 minus 1,950. 1,950. That will be my total for indirect material. 1,600 plus 5,300 minus 1,950. 4,950. So my indirect material will be 4,950, and then my indirect labor, remember supervisor and also the contributions relating to the supervisor. So I'm having a supervisor which is 62,000 plus 620. 62,000 plus 620. That would be my indirect labor. 62,000 plus 620. So I'm having 6,268. Right? Then I'm going to the other expenses that relates to the what? To the factory. Right? Other expenses that relates to the factory. This is covered. This is covered. This one is covered. Remove. I have rent expense, depreciation, and insurance. Rent expense, insurance, depreciation. So insurance is 3,350. 3,350. My rent expense is gonna be 2,850. 2,850. Depreciation is 21,000. 21,300. Let me confirm for the last time if there's nothing that I'm leaving out. Yes, there's nothing that I'm leaving out. Yep. Now I'm gonna add everything. That will be my total, and then I'm gonna take it to the side also. So I'm gonna say 4,950 plus 62,620 plus 22,850 plus 3,050 plus 21,300. Then they give me 950, 70, 95,000. Sorry, 70. And I've work in progress, which is the same amount. This amount here, I'm gonna simply take it to what? Factory overhead, which is 95,070. Right? Take it to the factory overheads. Here is here. Then I have the opening balance of work in progress. Opening balance of work in progress, which is opening balance of work in progress, which is my 25,350, 25,350, and 12,400. That's gonna be negative. How do you get the total cost of production? So I'm gonna say this amount plus this minus this gives me a total. So 523,880 plus 95,370 plus 25,350 minus 12,400. I'm having 631,900. This is my total cost of production for grade 11s, guys. This is actually, let me be honest with you guys, man. This is the production cost statement. I'm not sure if your teachers are telling you guys that or not, but the production cost statement is actually what? The work in progress note. Let me show you how. Let me show you something. Now our work in progress note is like this. This is actually the work in progress note. I wanted you guys to see what the production cost statement is, the work in progress note. I didn't just want to say it same time because some might be confused and whatsoever, but now you can see what do I mean. Sharp. In work in progress, we're gonna start by saying balance brought down of the work in progress, which is what? 25,350. Right? Then we're gonna have what? We're gonna start by saying direct material. Our direct material is what? 334,000. Our direct labor is what? 189,880. What is our factory overheads? Our factory overheads is 95,070. Now we're gonna totalize this side. Right? Let me add them. 25, 350, 189, 880 plus 95,000. So I'm gonna have 644,300. This amount is gonna come to this side also. 644,300. I know, guys, before you just transfer the total balance, you have to check which side is the bigger one, but you can see, guys. Then we have, what do we have on the side? We're gonna have balance carried down. What's the balance carried down? Balance carried down is a closing balance, which is what? 12,000. I mean, yeah, 12,400, right? You see, the 12,400, we're gonna subtract it, right? So this amount minus this amount, I'm gonna get what? Work in progress that we're talking about. This, which is what? The production cost statement. It must give me the same amount, right? So I'm gonna say 644,300 minus 12,400. It gave me what? 631,900. So actually, manufacturing or cost accounting for grade 11 and grade 12 are the same. It's just that they're just doing the production cost statement, you guys are just doing the work in progress. But this thing and this thing is the same thing. This one is a T account, this one is just a table. Fine. So guys, this is the same thing, right? Let's do the finished goods T account. Let me just do it here at the top. Finished goods, debit, credit, right? Balance at the beginning of finished goods, I have it, which is 15,300. I'm gonna write 15,300 here. Balance brought down, the balance brought down, right? Now I'm gonna have what here? Work in progress, or the production cost of production for grade 12. You're just gonna write the same amount here, which is 631,900. Then this side, we're gonna say balance carried down, which is the closing balance, which is how much? 18,800. 18,800. This plus this, they give me a total 15,300 plus what? 631, 900. They give me what? 647, 200. 647, 200. This minus this, they give me what? Cost of sales minus 18,800. This minus this, they give me cost of sales, which is 628,400. So this is what's going on with the manufacturing, guys. So please, guys, tomorrow or tonight, I'm gonna release a video doing the what, the break-even points, the interpretation, and whatsoever. But this is what's going on so far with manufacturing, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to your friends, right? If there's someone that is gonna be doing become accounting next thing in University of Johannesburg, contact me, such things, right? So yeah, thank you, guys.